Hello everyone. This is my very first YouTube video. Very exciting for me and really something that I've wanted to do for a while. If you're tuning in to this channel for the first time, it used to be under the name of my first book, which was Answers from Within, and now it's the Olivia S. Benson channel. That book was published a few years ago, and for those of you who wonder, because I talk about it often, it was really about me being an attorney, a young attorney, and a woman, and really trying to figure out how to make life work as perhaps as a partner, as a wife, in a relationship, and having a child or children. Maybe you've had this very same dilemma. And after I practiced law for a few years, it just seemed virtually impossible to make sense of all those different roles. So I began that journey, and it took me many, many, many years to write that book. And I eventually did. And again, that was Answers from Within. Fortunately for me, after I was finished and I wrote that book and really didn't intend on writing another. When I began writing Answers from Within, I didn't have it clear in my mind what I would do next. I had some ideas, but I wasn't sure. And certainly, and suddenly really, out of the blue, came a realization that my next book had to be about my relationship, or the absence of a relationship, with my father. And so I have, and if you haven't seen it yet, this is the second book, and it's called For the Love of My Father. And basically what happened was that, and I don't want to start this first video by getting too much into detail with the book, but I grew up without my father, with some very, very challenging circumstances. And the bottom line was that I really didn't realize how devastating his absence was in my life. I didn't realize what a vacuum it had created. I mean, based on my personality, I was extremely optimistic about life and what life held, but I didn't really realize what a hole there was in what I call in my soul. And in addition to that absence, there were so many other family related things that were happening that really were very, very challenging to me as a child. But I basically kept moving forward without realizing what had happened or what was happening. So it took many, many years and many challenges for me to be able to realize that there was something that I really had to go back and fix. That all of the challenges that I had experienced, and really all of the pain that I had experienced, was really still within me, so to speak. Not even so to speak. It was just really inside. The experiences were inside, and the suffering was there. It hadn't just disappeared over the years. And it was something that had to be looked at, and it had to be healed. And I can genuinely say that once I understood, and it took many, many years to come into sort of what was really necessary, sort of a spiritual understanding of what it was going to take to sort of heal what had happened within me, what had happened to me within me. It took many, many years. I didn't even realize the difficulty, and really not just the difficulty of the entire situation, but really the depth of this, of what was within me and what that was causing in my life. But I was very fortunate because in seeking, I eventually realized that the only solution was a spiritual solution. And I think Wayne Dyer has a book out there with a title, something along those lines. So what I was called to do was to really get into a spiritual understanding of life so that I would be able to figure out everything that happened. I'm going to say everything, I don't mean literally every single thing, but just to be able to understand what happened and then be able to make sense of life and then to create a better life once the issues had been addressed, once the issues had healed. So the good news is that I felt that I had to write this book because as a little girl, if I had known or had a single person that would have come to me and said, you know, maybe daddy isn't here and maybe all of these things are happening, but there's a way that you can be better. There's a way that you can heal from these issues. Maybe as a teenager, maybe not as a little girl, but maybe as a teenager, somebody would come and say, you know, we see that you have this circumstance where if I expressed the challenges or the suffering or the pain that I was experiencing, someone that would have said, let me tell you what happened to me. And that is what I offer, because you really, you know, life is very particular and everybody's circumstances are different. But I think that at least if you can hear someone else's story and such a challenging set of circumstances, and you can hear that somebody went through the same circumstance and was able to overcome, it certainly gives you hope, and in some cases, it can give you direction. Some of the things that I experienced, I feel were so difficult that I can only say that, and I know, by the way, let me say this, when you read the book, you will see my experiences. And all of us feel that the things that happen to us are the worst. I am sure that there are worst experiences, worst circumstances related to the absence of a father, related to how the family might be involved and things that might happen with a family. I am sure there are worst experiences than the one that I had. However, for me, growing up as a child, it just seemed to be a nightmare. And even as an adult, a lot of these things were just absolute nightmares. But fortunately, when I got to a certain level of my spiritual understanding, I understood that this was a path that I had to, these were things that I had to experience in order to become the person that I am today. And that is why I frequently say that if that is what was required for me to become the person that I am today, that I would definitely choose this life again. You'll see in many of my postings on Facebook, on the author page, author Olivia S. Benson, and on Twitter and Instagram, I spend a lot of time on forgiveness because this was the absolute key. Everything to heal required a spiritual understanding, and everything required forgiveness. And that is the one thing that I think I can say that is absolute for anyone. If you're seeking to heal from whether it's worse than my circumstances or my experiences or better. I know that forgiveness is the base. So going forward, I will be posting, we'll be, talking about different parts of the book and different subjects that come up, so that we can have sort of like a guided conversation. We'll also have some discussion groups and things along those lines. So today is just a start. Understand that I came from my first book, which really dealt with how I got to a spiritual understanding of my work, being a woman, being a mother, being a wife, and all those things, and what the purpose of my work was. And after I was done with that, I came into For the Love of My Father. And this is a work of my heart. I share it because I know that there are young ladies out there who absolutely could use this book. So it is a book about daddy issues. If I had to put it in one word or in two words, I would say it's a book about daddy issues and how, not just that they exist, but specifically how you can heal them. So until next time, the book is available on Amazon. It's For the Love of My Father. I am on Facebook as author Olivia Benson. I'm also on Twitter, and I'm also on Instagram, and my website is oliviasbenson.com. You can visit there. We have products, we have a lot of other information about what we're doing. Thank you very much. See you soon. Please subscribe to my channel.